If you're a simp, you want to be a man and get women, this is a place for you. Disco in the link below.
I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is Psych Hacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is Give Him the Money. So this is a real important episode. It's based on a study by Jacobsen, Jorgensen, and Lowe that just came out of Denmark. And I have to talk about it because, I'm sorry, I just can't resist the chance to feel vindicated. Listen close, as it's going to explain a lot about the world. So this study was not a survey. It did not poll men and women's attitudes or intentions or beliefs or any of that nonsense. It was a longitudinal study using epidemiological data like actual objective variables at the population level. And not just some of the population, not just most of the population, but the entire Danish population from 2004 through 2018. Oh, like this is the kind of sample that researchers fantasize about.
Correct, because they're not just doing a controlled experiment with 100 or 500 people. They're doing it with the full population, the Danish population. So you're going to get more conclusive results if you know about studies. Yeah, interesting. See what he's got to say.
And when we live in an age when it has literally never been easier to do this type of research, the publication industry's continued focus on increasingly outre subsets and unverifiable constructs is, frankly, damning and irresponsible. In any case, this is like God-level validity for a study, and its findings are very robust and very significant. And what did that study find? Very simply, the analysis revealed that when men received a permanent pay increase, they were more likely to have children relative to the population baseline. However, when women received the same increase, they were not just less likely to have children, they were significantly less likely to have children. And we're not even talking about a big increase in pay here. The study revealed the effects of a 5% permanent income increase. And with just this little increase, men were 1% more likely to have children, and women were 4% less likely to have children. And my hunch, though this wasn't in the study, is that this effect only increases, though probably not linearly, as the permanent income raise increases as well. Furthermore, and very significantly, this effect was most pronounced in men and women under 30. That is, during women's peak fertility window. The two graphs kind of level off after 40, but the men remained consistently positive throughout their lifespan. That is, more money was always related to more kids in men, while the women remain consistently negative across the same timeline. That is, more money was always related to fewer kids in women. Holy shit. Now, if I seem surprised, it's because I am. I'm not surprised by the results of the study. I'm surprised by how perfectly this study substantiates so much of my theory. Let's get to it. Those who have read my book, The Value of Others, and those who haven't should get their hands on a copy like right away, will know that one of my fundamental premises is that people enter into relationships to exchange unequal goods of comparable value. And when it comes to sexual relationships, these resources typically include the resources of men and the sexual opportunity of women. When that can't or won't happen for whatever reason, no relationship occurs. Anyone who disagrees with this needs to pause and look around. Like, do you see any relationships where the woman is with a man who has nothing to offer, and or the man is with a woman he doesn't want to have sex with? No? Huh. It's fascinating. The people who choose to continue to get upset by this remain baffling to me. But let's get back to this study. Whether it's cultural or biological, it's probably a bit of both, and we don't have to split hairs over the ratio here. Men are programmed to be protector providers, and women overwhelmingly agree with this. Like everything a real man is supposed to do redounds to the benefit of women, never to himself. And there's no reason to be surprised by this. Since women are the gatekeepers of sex, they've run an informal eugenics program for millennia, selecting the men who best expressed those attributes over the men who didn't, which is how this behavior came to be biologically encoded in men.
Whoa.
What's that?
I just built a budgeting app in Base 44.
Guys.
Are you finally ready to understand how relationships really work? Then get your hands on my book, The Value of Others: How to Get and Keep More of What You Want in the Sexual Marketplace. Learn what actually moves the needle, why relationships fail, and how to position yourself for success in this strange new world of mating and dating. Over 100,000 copies sold. Get yours today. Now available in ebook, audiobook, and paperback formats. The links are in the description. Now, a big reason why birth rates are down is not because people watch too much TikTok, or that they don't value love, or they haven't found Jesus, or whatever people are saying these days. They're down because of simple economics. The average 25-year-old guy living in a Western city has a 10 by 10 room in an overpriced apartment he shares with two other guys, a $40,000 a year salary, maybe, and 30 grand of debt. He's looking at his situation and he is correctly thinking, how can I bring another human being into the world? I need to earn more money and make something of myself before I think of starting a family, which is entirely responsible.
Of course.
And when, through the intensity and consistency of his efforts, he does manage to earn more money and make something of himself, he doesn't go out and buy a Ferrari. He doesn't blow it on hookers and coke.
Some do.
He doesn't fly himself first class to a boys' weekend in Miami.
Some do.
Like a few guys might do that, but not the majority of men. Rather, the vast majority of men decide once they arrive in life materially that it's time to start a family.
Yeah.
And this isn't just me saying this, like this is literally the first line in the most famous feminist novel ever written. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. Jane fucking Austen. So what's my point? Simple. Men share. Men share. The vast majority of men share. When they do well, they spread it around. They give it to women. They give it to children. And they provide for others. However, the same is not true of women. When women get the same resources, they don't think, now that I'm in possession of a good fortune, I must be in want of a husband. They overwhelmingly say, I don't need a man. I'm not going to pay a grown man's bills. That's a boy, not a man. I'm going to take care of me.
I'll pause that there quickly say this. This just highlights even more what I've been saying for many years. Men are more maternal than women. It's as simple as that. Women are just, I don't want to sound negative here, are just vessels to have babies. That's the top and bottom of it, because most of the time they don't want them. You know, the dad becomes like, looks after the baby and that, and, you know, men are more maternal than women.
What the data reveal is that women don't share. They compete with men in the professional marketplace for the same money, and when they get it, they keep it to themselves.
Yeah, so why want to compete with men? Why would a female compete with men? You don't do that. It's the worst thing you could do is comparing yourself with competition or someone that isn't even your competition, because men don't compare themselves to women. They don't. They just don't do it. So this study highlights even more that women are dick envy of men. Women want to be men. And that's why we've got feminism.
And what could possibly corroborate the observation that women use men for resources better than the fact that women have less interest in men when they have their own resources? Like, you can't make this shit up.
You can't.
Now, you might cavil that the research findings are about children, not men, but this is somewhat specious, right? Like, where do you think kids come from? But that's only the most obvious response. We're going to have to go a little deeper and a little darker because it turns out women aren't always full of sugar and spice and everything nice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, while there have been many, many fantastic, loving, devoted mothers in the world, mothers who want to be mothers, who love and care for their children, who consider it the greatest thing they've ever done with their lives, there have also been many women, both throughout history and today, who use children to secure resources from men. So it's not just that men provide resources to women, it's that children provide resources to women. That's
blackmail. That is so. The women doing that, it's pure blackmail. That's all it is. It's an emotional tool. That is a definition of blackmail.
Through men. Don't believe me? Do you know anyone who accidentally got pregnant in order to get a man to marry her? Do you know anyone who, in a struggling and dysfunctional relationship, decided to have children in order to save the marriage?
Emotional blackmail. That's what he's trying to say. It's emotional blackmail. That's what it is. I'm sure it's a crime, that, like, not an emotional, but the blackmail is. That's women for you, top and bottom. Not all women. 99.9% of women, that's their makeup. Some of them even go beyond that. And it's not their makeup, they're just pure out and out. Not very nice people. I call them demons. And yes, there is male demons as well. There is.
And did you know that child support has absolutely nothing to do with what a child needs?
Correct.
In order to have a healthy and comfortable lifestyle, and absolutely everything to do with the amount of available resources that can be extracted from the man in question?
Yeah. Like, I've got to get my nails done. I'm going out to see the girls, and I'm getting me glow up. I'm healing. When a woman says she's healing, she's got about at least between 3 to 6 men on the go, and she says she's celibate. She's not celibate. She's having a regular bit with many different men, because most women are promiscuous. That's facts. Most women are. Even married women are. That's facts. Well, not facts. It's my opinion. You know. Yeah. Okay then. Wrong word there. Say the wrong word now and then. I'm not perfect. I'm a man as well. You know. But anyways, that's how it's got to see.
Look, women want resources.
Yeah.
They always have.
And
they always will. They are more about the bag than the finance bros they like to mock. And historically, women have used men and children to get those resources.
Yeah.
So are we really so surprised to learn that when we just give women the resources directly, they choose to dispense with the men and the children? Like, that is an economically rational decision. Like, women have cut out the middlemen, which has provided them with better operational margins. Now, the researchers of the study interpreted these results by basically arguing that raising women's income was a kind of golden handcuff. That is, now that they were making more, the opportunity cost to leave the workforce to have children was just too great, considering that women are still disproportionately responsible for childcare. And of course, apologists will argue that this is true, not because of the biological realities involved, but because of residual sexism and misogyny. However, that's what's so great about this study. Denmark is like literally the most sexually egalitarian society in the entire world. And apparently it's still sexist. Like it never ends. It really doesn't. Now, there's probably some truth to that explanation. Like golden handcuffs are a thing, but it largely misses the point. Like that opportunity cost is still there when the woman makes less money. And it would be tough to argue that childcare becomes more difficult the more resources you have at your disposal. So I'm not really buying it. I think the researchers offered this interpretation because a fantastic study that presented the more honest and obvious, but less acceptable interpretation would not have gotten published. And that interpretation is simple. When you give men money, they share it with women and children. And when you give women money, they keep it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And why wouldn't this be the case? Women have been on the receiving end of men's selected protection provision for millennia. And when they are suddenly in the position to protect and provide themselves, they don't do it.
Yeah.
They don't do it. Probably because there is absolutely no culture to support that behavior in women.
Yeah.
And it has like
Good point.
never been selected for by men in the history of the human race.
Mhm.
So if we want to address the population collapse in a relative reality-based way, this paper offers a practical suggestion. Give him the money.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments
Yeah.
below. And please send this episode to someone who you think might benefit from its message, because it's word of mouth referrals like this that really help to make the channel grow. Other
Mhm.
value props? Anyone looking to join my free weekly?
Yeah. It just sums it all up, doesn't it? And that's a study of all Sweden, not just a control study of 100 or 200 or 300, 400, 500 people. It's the full population. And that's quite an interesting study, the outcome. And to be honest, what was surprised? No, neither was he. It's just the study is reinforcing what women are about. Yeah, culture has got a part to do with it, yeah, and feminism is going against that, yeah, or for it as well. Because what is feminism? It just pull these words out, misogyny and stuff like that, and you know, they don't even know what words they're talking about. They don't know the definition. You know, it's quite embarrassing when they come out with these words and they don't even know the definition when you ask them. But yeah, this is an interesting study, and it just reinforces what we're thinking in any ways. When a woman jokes on, because they joked on in the past, and you would have heard this joke before, your partner or your girlfriend in the past, what is yours, what you've got is half of mine, what I've got is mine. I know they're joking on, but they really mean that. Are you getting it? So the women are saying to their husbands or boyfriends, what you've got, I'll get half of it, and what's mine, meaning her, I'll keep mine. So what's the point of being in a relationship? It's like they're there just to rob you blind, you know, to take the money from you, then crucify you and take you through the courts, child support, and make up false allegations like they do. But yeah, it fits with a lot of stuff in my past as well. Because one of my exes, she was homeless before she met me. Ended up separated. She got all the house, and I didn't get anything. Now she's got lots of money put away in the back, properties renting out, and she's only got that through stepping on men. Mostly stepping on men. Yes, she works, but you can't pay a mortgage for a 4 or 5 bedroom house that it doesn't add up. If you're like a manager on Earth, it just doesn't add up. But yeah, she'd tell you a different story though. And she's got all that money in the bank and renting properties out. She's got money, not off her once. They're like, oh, start, yeah, there's X amount of money. Try start this business. Never, not one offer. Not that I expect it, but not once because of the shoe was on the other foot. I would certainly say, listen, you got a good business idea, want to start something, or you know what I mean? I'll give you the money for it, no problem. But no, the other way around, I don't want to know. That's women for you. So really, the movie Sleep with the Enemy comes to mind. Stay masculine, friends. Stay masculine. Because if you don't, you'll end up turning into a simp, because that's what they do as well, turning into a simp. Catch you on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, like, comment on all socials. Catch you on the next one. You're getting it eventually. Over and out.